Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 15, text number 6. Please repeat. Ete alinaha tava yashaha akilaloka tirtam gayantaha adipurusha anupattam bhajante prayah ami muniganaha bhavadiya mukyaha gudam vane api na jahati anaga atmadaivam ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam gayanta adi purushanupatam bhajante gayanta adi purushanupatam bhajante Rayo ami munigana bhavadiya mukya Rayo ami munigana bhavadiya mukya Gurang vane pina jahayat anaghatma daivam Guram vane pina jagat anahatma daivam Ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam Gayanta adi purushanupatang bhajante Prayomi munigana bhavadiya mukya Gudam vane pina jahat yanahatma daivam Ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam Gayanta adi purushanupatang bhajante Prayo ami munigana bhavadiya mukya Gurang vane pina jahat anahatma daivam Ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam Gayanta adi purushanupatam bhajante Prayo ami munigana bhavadiya mukya Guram vane pina jahat anahatma daivam Ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam Prano Amimonigana Bhavadhiya Mukhya Udam Ganepi Natahajaya. Mataji. Ete, these, alinaha, bees, tava, your, yashaha, glories, akila loka, for all worlds, tirtam, the place of pilgrimage, gayantaha, or chanting, adi purushaha, adi purusha, O original personality of Godhead, Anupattam, following you along the path. Bhajante, they are engaged in worshipping. Prayaha, for the most part. Ami, these. Muniganaha, great sages. Bhavadiya, among your devotees. Mukhyaha, the most intimate. Gudam, hidden. Vane, within the forest. Api, even though. Na, jaha, na jahati, they do not abandon. Anaga, O sinless one. Atmadaivam, their own worshipable deity. Translation purport given by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Translation: O original personality, these bees must all be great sages and most elevated devotees of yours, for they are worshipping you by following you along the path and chanting your glories, which are themselves a holy place for the entire world. Though you have disguised yourself within this forest, O sinless one, they refuse to abandon you, their worshipable Lord. Purport: the word Gudam is significant in this verse. It indicates that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of Krishna or Balarama appears like an ordinary human being within the material world, great sages always recognize the Lord as the Supreme Absolute Truth. All the transcendental forms of Godhead are eternal and full of bliss and knowledge, exactly the opposite of our material bodies, which are temporary and full of misery and ignorance. One meaning of the word Tirtha is the means for crossing beyond material existence. Simply by hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord or by chanting them, one immediately comes to a spiritual platform beyond material existence. Thus, the Lord's transcendental glories are here described as a Tirtha for everyone in the world. The word Gayantaha indicates that great sages give up their vows of silence and other selfish processes to glorify the activities of the Supreme Lord. Real silence means to not speak nonsense, to limit one's verbal activities to those sounds, statements, and discussions relevant to the loving service of the Supreme Lord. The word Anaha indicates that the Supreme Lord never performs sinful or offensive activities. The The word also indicates that the Lord immediately excuses a sin or offense committed by a sincere loving devotee who may accidentally deviate from the Lord's service. In the special context of this verse, the word anaga indicates that the Lord Balarama was not disturbed by the bees who were constantly following him. Anupadam. The Lord blessed them by saying, "O bees, come into my confidential grove and feel free to taste its fragrance." Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivikasa Swaminiti Namine. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschalyatatme. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ete linastava yasho kilaloka tirtam, gayanta adi purushan patam bhajante, prayo amimuni gana bhavadiya mukhya, udam vanepina jagat janughatma, anahatma devam. In translation. O original personality, these beasts must all be great sages and most elevated devotees of yours, for they are worshipping you by following you along the path and chanting your glories, which are themselves a holy place for the entire world. Though you have disguised yourself within the forest, O sinless one, they refuse to abandon you, their worshipable Lord. Hare Krishna. So here we are continuing to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, in this chapter, the killing of Dhenuka. So after here Lord Krishna and Balarama, they are entering the forest. So from the previous verse, Lord Krishna, he's speaking to Balarama. So actually, Lord Krishna gives, it's mentioned before only, he gives the credit to Balaram and what are happening in the forest. So in the previous verse we saw how when they enter the forest, the trees bow down, and gives flowers, fruits to Balaram as an offering. So in this verse, it's mentioned that the bees, they were following the Lord. So here in the purport, four words were mentioned and different explanations were given by the devotees. So here first they mentioned about the word Gudam. The word translation, we can see the Gudam, the meaning is hidden. So here we can see in Vrindavan, right from the beginning, whatever pastimes that are performed, whatever small activities performed by Lord Krishna and Balarama, they were completely like human-like pastimes. So that's why it's mentioned that both Lord Krishna and Balarama, they are wandering in the forest as an ordinary human being. So, but great sages, they can understand. It's mentioned that bees, these bees are not ordinary bees. So these bees might be, the great sages. So Lord Krishna is mentioning that these bees are great sages. So they identify you and then they are glorifying your activities. So Lord Krishna is mentioning this to Balaram. So here, while giving this meaning to the word Godam, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions his activities are difficult to understand. For ordinary people, it's very difficult to understand. That's why we can see even previous chapter we saw how even Lord Brahma, he himself get perplexed by Krishna's activities. So it's these human-like pastimes are most misleading. You know, if we try to put our own intelligence to understand Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, in that way we cannot understand. So, even as mentioned, Krishna himself mentioned, Vajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanum Ashritam Parambhavam Ajananda Mamabhuta Maheshwaram. So, fools, they don't understand Krishna. When he comes in human form, they don't understand who he is. Also, it's mentioned, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Idati Siddhaye Idatam Api Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tatvataha. So, those who try to understand Krishna, even among thousands of people, only few tries to understand the Lord, and among those who are trying to understand the Lord, very few rarely understand Krishna in truth. So Krishna himself mentions. So it's not. It's difficult for the common man, conditioned in this material world, to understand Krishna. But also it's mentioned that it's very easy also for devotees. It's very easy to understand Krishna. We can see, like Arjuna is there in battlefield. Also, we can see Arjuna, Duryodhana, both are there. Krishna is also there, but Arjuna could understand who is Krishna. But Duryodhana, even though he is nearby Krishna, he couldn't understand his glories. Also, different devotees, we can see Prahlad Maharaj. You see, he can see Krishna everywhere. Even in the pillar, he can see Krishna. So, once we know, once we adopt the process of understanding Krishna, then it's easy to understand. But if we try to understand in our own way, then it's difficult to understand Krishna. Also, in the prayers by the residents of Jambudvipa in the 5th canto, there also it's mentioned that the sages were praying to Krishna, like, they are comparing, the sages, they knew, from the wood, the fire is dormant inside. They know how to invoke the fire. Similarly, devotees, those who are expert in understanding the absolute truth, actually, they know the process, and they know Lord is everywhere, Lord's presence everywhere. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Even Krishna mentions, he is manifested everywhere. And if we know the process how to know him, then it's easy to understand. Also, it's mentioned that Lord, when he reveals himself, it's easy for us to understand who the Lord is. So, also, we can see it's mentioned that Lord is everywhere, and also Lord is there in as a Archa Murti, as a deity form. We can see the Lord here, because here we can see how the great sages as bees, they recognize the Lord and then they are glorifying. Similarly, in this material world, the easy way to appreciate and recognize the God, in a deity form we are worshipping. In that way also, it's easy for us to understand him. Because atheistic people, they do some mockery also. Why this deity worship? It's like simply an idol. How you can say this is Lord? But devotees knew that there is a process that we adopt. The Lord can manifest himself in any form. So when the devotees humbly offers prayers and requests the devotees to manifest in the form, and then we worship, so that Lord is right there in the deity. His form is there. But atheistic people, they deride the deity worship. And also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was actually traveling from Vrindavan to Puri, so he heard this story of Shakshi Gopal from the devotees, and he wanted to impress upon the atheist how the deity, there is no difference between the Supreme Lord and the deity. By hearing the story, he want to you know impress upon the atheist, because this is a very nice story. By that, one can understand how the deity is the Supreme Lord. So the story goes like this, like there were two Brahmins, the old man and one young man. They were actually traveling, to Vrindavan. Nowadays means now we go in rails and we go, but previously it's very hard to travel to Vrindavan. We have to go through many jungles, so it's difficult. So, but they went to Vrindavan and then they took darshan of the Lord. And then because the young man, he helped very much, the old man felt he was indebted to him, so he want to give some reward to the young man. So this talk was going in front of the temple, in front of the deity. So the old man was promising that I will give some reward. So but the young man told, no, I am not expecting anything, I don't want anything. So but still the old man was insisting that no, I will marry you with my younger daughter. So he is promising in front of deity. But that young man told, please you don't promise, because you are from aristocratic family. I am a poor man. Your family may object also. No, so better you don't promise. But still the old man was insisting and gave his promise. And then they actually came back to their village. They came back to the village, and then in village, when the person, the old man, when he informed his eldest son, oh, I have promised in this way to give my daughter to that person, so better you give. Like that he was informing the eldest son. But that eldest son was like atheistic kind of, don't give, why, he is a poor man, I cannot give. So now the old man is little worried. Oh, I gave promise, but because from family nobody is supporting. So when the young man came, because they promised in front of the Lord, so he came to the village and explains the incidents, everything. And but whole family was against the young man. And then even the old man, he remained silent, he didn't open the mouth, because he was in that situation, so he couldn't open his mouth. So and then the atheistic, that elder son, he was challenging. Oh, you told if God comes and means if God comes and informs us, then I will get my sister to marry. So then that young man, he went back, the devotee, he went back, and then to the deity, he was just like with great faith he went to the deity, and then just like talking to a friend, oh, you please come and then tell the truth. So the Gopal deity, the deity was started speaking to the devotee. Oh, I am a deity, how can I walk, and then how can I come? So the devotee, he told, if the deity can speak, then he can walk also. So in that way, they were coming back to the village, and then they stopped in one place, and then from the village people, they could understand such a big deity, from such a distance. That means it came. That means it's true. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very much happy to hear this story, and then to give message to the people that the deity worship, the deity who we are worshipping in the temple, they are the Supreme Lord itself. There is no difference between the Supreme Lord and the deities worshipping in the temple. So this is there. And also there are some other places where devotees, no, actually, if you see, the devotees go to temple and worshipping the Lord, they are recognizing the Supreme Lord, and uh, they usually ask for some material benedictions. After meeting the Supreme Lord is there, He can give anything, He can give even liberation. But no, in India, if you can see, there are so many holy places, so many holy dhams are there, and then deities are there in front of, like, we went to Tirupati, devotees, many lakhs and lakhs of people daily, they are taking darshan of Lord Balaji. No, they knew that Lord is there, but still, they are recognizing the Lord, but still they ask for this small material benedictions. So if we have a proper understanding of the Lord, then we should know what to pray to the Lord. So that is also there, because the Lord is so kind that He is always thinking, because devotees are thinking always how to serve the Lord, and then even the Lord is thinking how to serve He is finding an opportunity to serve the devotees also. That is also we can find from the scriptures that how in the life of this Sanatana Goswami, this both Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were living separately in Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami was writing books. So one day Rupa Goswami had a desire, if I can get some nice food items, so I can prepare some nice food preparations for Sanatana Goswami. So he was just having that desire in mind. So one day, while thinking like that, one day, one young girl of 12 years, she came, and then she was telling that we had some festival in our home, so we want to give some as a charity. We want to give some items like that. She gave ghee, rice flour, wheat, so many ingredients for cooking. She gave, and then she went. And then Rupa Goswami, by taking this opportunity, so he nicely prepared nice items and then invited Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami, as soon as he came and he saw the preparations, he was astonished. Oh, how we are mendicants, we are in the forest, so how we could collect so many nice ingredients for cooking. So Rupa Goswami explained what happened, and then such and such a girl came, and then she spoke, and then she gave. So, and then Sanatana Goswami was inquiring about who was the girl and how she was. So as soon as he comes to know that Radharani himself came and then gave this, and then as soon as he thought of, we took service from the Radharani, so he was lamented like anything. In one place, actually, Prabhupada was mentioning that he was even crying, you have murdered me, so we have taken service from the Lord. We are supposed to give service to the Lord, but now we have taken service from the Lord. So like that he was lamenting. So devotees, in this way, they teach us, how even after recognizing the Lord, what should be the mood, how we should not ask for material benedictions, and how we should even, if we get something, what should be the attitude of whatever the benedictions, whatever blessing that we are getting, what should be the attitude to accepting the benediction. That also it's mentioned. So in regard to this word Godham, in Krishna book, actually here it's mentioned that the Lord comes in a disguised way, like that it's mentioned here. In Krishna book, Prabhupada is mentioning that even this great sages, they comes in a disguised way as a beast. So in that way they come and then they glorify the Lord. And why they come in that way? Because the great devotees, they don't want to leave the company of the Lord. So in any form, wherever Lord is going, they want to accompany Him in different forms. So in that way, the devotees themselves, they are also comes in disguised form. So that is also there. And that's why, even before last class also we heard that in a holy place like Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, we should not offend even a small ant. Whatever living entities are there, we do not know. Maybe a small living entity, but they may be a great sages, maybe devotees, they who want to be there in the Dham and then want to serve. So that's why we learned from devotees that even in holy places, whatever small entities, we should not disturb them unnecessarily. We should not offend them. We should be careful in the Dham. That also we should try to understand. And then the next word, Tirtha is mentioned. Tirtha means the means for crossing beyond material existence. So, Tirtha, for this word, Guru Maharaj has given more than 40-50 lectures, series of lectures he gave for this word Tirtha. So many things, so many meanings are there. There are so many things, nice things to share. So, very few things I thought, okay, could share from this. So, here it's mentioned that Krishna's glories, they are compared to Tirtha, because it's mentioned simply by hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord or by chanting them, one immediately comes to the spiritual platform beyond material existence. Thus, the Lord's transcendental glories are here described as Tirtha for everyone in the world, because Maharaj gives the meaning that the root word for the Tirtha means to cross. So for us to cross this material world, there are many holy places, pilgrimages are there, and then it refers to the pilgrimage places because there we can find devotees, and by hearing from their instructions we can cross beyond this material world. And also here in one place Maharaj is mentioning that Sukadeva Goswami, he narrated the whole Bhagavatam. So he is actually a Tirtha. A devotee is also compared to Tirtha, because hearing from him one can cross this material existence. So that is also mentioned. And then at last Maharaj was mentioning that for us hearing from Srila Prabhupada is more important. It's better than visiting many holy places, because we may visit many holy places, but if we don't hear from the devotees, then we do not know what is the purpose of life. So hearing from devotees is more essential, more important than simply traveling and visiting the holy places. This also Prabhupada mentions. And then Maharaj gives the importance, that a disciple means he should hear from his guru. This is very important. And then disciple should come to the guru, like a blind slate. And then Prabhupada mentions, gives a nice sentence that we should be ready to be reprogrammed by them. So whatever we may have some habits, or we may have some idea of worshipping or serving Lord, but Maharaj mentions a disciple should be ready to be reprogrammed by those instructions. So this hearing from the devotees and then molding our life in such a way, that way we can make our life happy. Because sometimes most of the people, because they are materially attached, they are very stubborn to give up their material desires and habits. Maharaj gives one example of in, I don't know which year, but in Calcutta, in train station there is so much rush. When train comes, people enter into the train, and then so much rush was there. One time one sannyasi was there at that time in a railway station, and then while entering into the train, many were entering because few seconds only the train stops, so they were entering, and then by that time one person actually fell inside in the track. He fell down, and then the train starts moving, and then his body was crushed like anything. So of course he is going to die. So at that moment, that sannyasi, he was just to help that person. He almost he's collapsed, means he's about to die in seconds. So he was asking that person, "Oh, please, now you chant Hare Krishna." He was telling, the sannyasi was telling to that man, dying person, and that dying person was so stubborn. He was telling, "Please give me a cigarette. I can smoke and then peacefully die." So this is what the reply that he gave. So if we are so stubborn in our life that we don't want to give up the material desires, and then we don't want to give up this sense gratification at any time, then we cannot be saved by anyone. So we should submissively we should have the tendency of hearing, so then we can advance in our life. So and then here another word is mentioned, Gayantah. That is for that also devotees gave the explanation. Here the word Gayantah indicates the great sages give up their vows of silence and other selfish processes to glorify the activities of the Supreme Lord. So here this from the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, this Prayena Deva Munayo Svabhamukti Kaman. So the great sages, they actually decide for their own liberation. For that, they do meditation for their own liberation. They do all this thing. But Prahlad Maharaj mentions that I don't want such kind of liberation, because I alone don't want to be liberated. I want to take all these foolish rascals, because anyway I am in Krishna consciousness. So only by Krishna consciousness one can be happy. So then I know all these things, so I can be here. I want to take all these foolish people with them, with me. So Prahlad Maharaj was praying in that way. So he is wishing to bring all the people. So he is not wishing for his own liberation. So devotee should be in that mood that just by glorifying the Lord, speaking about the Lord, we should bring conditioned soul to the Supreme Lord. So this should be our mood. From Prahlad Maharaj we can understand this also. So I can stop here. Maybe some questions or comments, corrections. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.